Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught me this truth, and much respect to the Akim at the Laban and his work. Peace and salutation to the hopefully elect who are scattered abroad. To you I say, Shalom. Yeah, so I just want to go into some quick information. All right, of course, dealing with biblical prophecy, as we who in the know understand very well what times we're living in, man. Very dangerous times. And pretty much we're at the point in which these devils have had enough. All right, Esau, Edom has had enough of the exposure, so he's going to do what? He's going to sign off on different legislations and ultimately decrees to keep the word back, to keep the word from, flowing throughout the earth, through the internet, because this man understands that according to prophecy, that his revelation means that his end is near. So the best thing in which he could do to kind of halt, his judgment is to stop the word from going out, by regulating the internet. So this pretty much explains why certain brothers' channels are being taken down, videos are being taken down, and ultimately brothers' IPS addresses are being attacked to where they can't upload videos. In particular, the elder from Vegas, all right, Elder Karatazak, his channel was taken down, and also his IPS address was attacked. So these are just signs of what's coming, in which lets us know that we're not going to be on the internet for long. This word that has ran its course has done its work, and now it's time for judgment. These devils will come in and try to corral the situation violently. So from the people's voice, 20 U.S. states signed a treaty to arrest and re-educate citizens who criticize Israel. So in a nutshell, we know that the scripture speaks about the dragon being Ra with the woman Israel and making war, with the remnant of her seed, which keep the testimony, which have the testimony of Yahweh Shai and keep the commandments of the Most High. So in a nutshell, we know that free speech and the elimination of it is really tailored towards us, all right, who are speaking of the greater judgment. So let's get this real quick in Isaiah 10, because this is how this man gets his strength, from signing of different decrees. All right, that's how he receives justice. Isaiah 10:1, woe or destruction unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. These are unrighteous decrees that they sign off on, these different treaties, all right, which are tailored towards the poor. It says in that right grievousness which they have prescribed, all right? So these things in which they sign off on are pretty much pre-written. Pre means before, and scribe means to write. They already had it mapped out about, what law they want to be initiated. They just needed the right scenario for them to sign off on it, all right? But nevertheless, it's unrighteous. So why do they do this? To turn aside the needy from judgment. What are we speaking about? Right, to overthrow Esau, Edom. This man going down violently, man. All right, the nation of Israel, and also America, Babylon the Great. Okay, first and foremost, both of these nations are going to be destroyed by thunder with fire. They don't want to hear that, man. That dreadful sound which is in his ears, right? So to turn aside the needy from judgment, all right, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, see, freedom of speech, and that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fathers, man. So we're seeing these things play out right before us, in which, again, you got 20 U.S. states which signed a treaty to arrest and re-educate citizens who criticize Israel. So a new treaty has surfaced, one that authorizes the identification, detention, and re-education of American citizens accused of sharing online material deemed hostile toward Israel or critical of global governance. See? So this ain't nothing that we didn't already expect, right? That's why when you come into this truth, man, you have to count the cost, because, by depart from evil, you make yourself a prey. These devils are honing in on the prey, which is pretty much the elect, and he's getting ready to attack, But on the flip side, this is what the Lord wants. He wants him to try and attack the elect, okay, so that he can showcase his power, just like ancient Pharaoh. Isaiah 59:15 is written in NLT. Yes, truth is gone. Truth was gone for a long time, man. But it speaks about how in the end, a truth shall be declared. a corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which have been so long without fruit shall be declared. So yes, truth is gone or was gone, and anyone who renounces evil is attacked. So anyone who was speaking out against his NWO, this man's wicked establishment, his New World Order, okay, they're going to be attacked. First, their words are going to be regulated. Then they're going to come in physically. The Lord looked and was displeased to find there was no justice. See? Because, again, going back into those unrighteous decrees, to do what? To take away the right. Matter of fact, let's go back into it. Isaiah 10 in verse 2, it says to turn aside the needy from judgment, see, and to take away the right from the poor of my people. So they sign off on these things to take away the right, all right? Or, yeah, that's pretty much the right for us to speak judgment, Salakia, upon Esau. So again, it says the Lord looked and was displeased to find that there was no justice, all right? So the Lord is watching these devils. He's watching everything that they do. So eventually when they do come in, Isaiah 59:19 is going to come into effect, where it says in the KJV, so shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh by Shemashah in the West. And this is what we're currently doing, speaking about the hopeful elect, showing that the name of the Lord is very important. All right. So they're going to fear the name and call upon that name in times of trouble. In his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh by Shemashah shall lift up a standard against him. See, so pretty much reminiscent of ancient Pharaoh when he came in after the Israelites. That was the Lord drawing his man in, so that his power can be known. So we're going to see that same scenario play out in these times. But before that, you're going to have the internet be regulated, and you're not going to be able to find this. There's going to be a famine of the word taking place, in which Jake's going to be seeking for this truth, but there's not going to be a prophet to comfort them. So behind the scenes, back into this article, behind the scenes, officials are quietly pressuring U.S. states to adopt a unified digital compliance framework, a coordinated initiative designed to criminalize dissent and bring online speech in the U.S. under Israeli control. So at least 20 states are said to have already signed the digital accord, with several others in advanced negotiations. So to get on the internet, man, you're gonna have to have, of course, a digital ID at some point. Okay, so according to those in power, the age of open debate is over. Dissent is being rebranded as extremism, and independent thought is now treated as a crime. So the plan has been years in the making. See, all right, unrighteous decrees in which they had prescribed. The plan has been years in the making, and now the first pieces of that globalist machinery are moving into place right before our eyes. So let's skip down real quick. Let's scroll down a little bit. All right, so here we go. So apparently Zionists don't control the media or social media. All right, yet they can still silence anyone who says they do. Okay, that's not the point I'm looking for. Let's see. All right, so for an example, okay. So right here, so it says this isn't just rhetoric. The consequences are real and they're chilling. So a Texas man named Adam, his name was Adam, right, was swatted after posting online criticism of Israel, leading the Texas DPS and Bell County Sheriff office to show up at his home. An officer confirmed to him, we're here because of the comments you made online about Israel. See, that's what it's going to come down to, them knocking at your door. And Adam said, it is free speech when Israel can just send your local cops to your, is it free speech when Israel can just send your local cops to your door for posts they don't like? This is not a one-off incident. According to the global elite, free speech is now a weapon of war. Former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, who now serves the WF full-time, told the UN Climate Summit in New York, all right, stated that free speech is a weapon of war, and anyone caught speaking their mind on sensitive globalist subjects, see, like the NWO and this man's agenda, must be punished accordingly. According to Adern, censorship is necessary to protect free speech. So straight from the horse's mouth, weapons of war, right? The elite have taken off their masks, and they are now declaring that free speech is a weapon of war that must be taken away from Americans. And now, as the FBI's official narrative about the Charlie Kirk assassination falls apart, the noises coming out of Israel are deeply unsettling. All right, so let's scroll down. Yeah, the elites are in panic mode. We know that. There was another point in here. Right, so let's just read this right here. So now ordinary citizens are discovering, hey, they are also being monitored through the very devices they trust the most. So if you're not masking your identity online, you're building your own digital cage, which is the reason why certain brothers' IPS addresses have been attacked. Their channels been taken down to where they can't even upload anymore. Right, one click at a time, and don't be fooled. Even X isn't a safe haven anymore. All right. So it says, if you dare to question the official narrative even once, the system takes notes, algorithms flag you, accounts disappear, and soon the so-called fact checkers come knocking. So AI is doing the heavy lifting now. It's gotten to the point where they're able to detect certain speech, okay, down to the T, that's offensive towards this man's agenda, man, right? So this isn't debate, it's digital thought control. Step out of line and you're labeled. All right, keep asking questions and you're marked for re-education. All right, so at some point, it's going to get to the point again where they're going to come banging at your door with the military, man, and try to round you up. It speaks about, these devils trying to throw some of us in prison. So Revelation 2:10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Why? Because we're speaking against this evil, man. We're going to suffer certain things, saying that we are prey. Behold, the devil Esau shall cast some of you into prison. That's his concentration camps, to be interrogated, and that you may be tried. It's pretty much since we are a threat to national security, it's going to get to the point of where they're going to say, look, you got to take this chip. You got to be re-educated. If you don't take this chip, man, it's off with your head, right? And then, they want to torture you and they want to do all kind of manner of things until you, primarily speaks about the beheading of those who did not take the mark during this time of, trial. It says, and you shall have tribulation 10 days, a certain period of time, but be thou faithful unto death. See, he's showing that your life is going to be threatened. And I will give thee a crown of life, man. So this is what it's going to come down to. So you got to count the cost. We have to count the cost of what we're involved with, because we are facing certain death. But at the same time, the Heavenly Father is the one who's controlling this. He's going to look after the elect, right? Those who have been faithful to him. But yeah, just going into the times in which the Lord is pretty much stripping away his mercy, and he's getting ready to bring down, judgment. So Amos 8, verse 11, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, Yahweh by Shemal Shah, I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, although those things are coming, right? But of hearing the words of Yahweh by Shemal Shah, which are very precious, see? Because as we see the people pretty much be reduced to perplexity, confusion, when calamities truly hit, they're going to want to know, what's the way out? What do I do next? And those who have the answers are going to be shut up. They're going to be hidden. All right. And of course, these devils are going to come in and attack. But for these people out here to get this word, this truth, they're not going to be able to find it. We're not going to be a reprover unto them in that day. So verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even unto the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh by Shemal Shah. And in the modern day sense, this is speaking about people searching the internet. It's going to be regulated. All right, you're going to be looking for a great millstone video while you got people mocking right now. Such as Drewski and everyone else who's following Jamie Foxx. These people who mock the prophets, at some point, they're going to know that what we were speaking about was true. Then they're going to want answers, right? So it says they're going to seek the word of the Lord, and they should not find it. The Lord's going to put the spirit in these devils to hone in on the testimony and to take it out the airways to ban certain IPS addresses to where you can't get on unless you got a digital ID and you comply with the regulations, man. All right? That's the Lord drawing up this word. You see? So why are they going to seek this word? Because all hell, again, is going to break loose. Ezekiel 7:25. So it says, destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. You're seeing a short, example, a small example of that right now, with the loss of benefits. It says, mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. And then shall they seek a vision of the prophet. They're going to want to know what's coming down the pipe in the future, man. And this is where the testimony of Yahweh Shai, this is where the value of this truth is going to come into play. Because we know the future. We know what we need to do to get out of the situation. But the people out there who are lost, who mock and scoff, they don't know. Right? They don't have the gift of faith. But the law should pass from the priests and counsel from the ancient, you see? Because the Lord tried to give you counsel while it was here, but, you despised it, you mocked at it, you shrugged the shoulder, and you pretty much did your own things. And now, when these plays hit and you ain't got no answers, you're going to be crying, but the Lord's not going to hear you as well, man. Because we're crying right now, and you're not hearing. So how much more for the Lord in that day there was, when you're crying? Yeah, so Zechariah 7:11. Hey, but they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears, that they should not hear. Okay? Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which the Lord of hosts have sent in the spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts. Right? So when destruction comes, they should seek peace, right? Therefore it has come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, see? So they cried, and I would not hear, said the Lord of hosts. See that? They're going to seek counsel from the ancients, the prophets, but the Lord's going to have us regulated. He's going to have us taken out the internet, put up, shut up, and you're going to be caught out there, man. So this was being set up right before your eyes. Regulation and pretty much demonization of the truth. Because these devils are ready to make a move, man. So just want to go through that real quick. 20 U.S. states signed treaty to arrest and re-educate citizens who criticize Israel. See, to arrest and re-educate as you're being thrown into prison and tried. Ultimately with a charagma. Either comply, take this chip, or we're gonna pretty much, cut your head off or whatever, or torture you. See? So with that, Lord willing, you're edified. Till next time I say shalom.